Hello and welcome to another quick thoughts on a Blu-ray video. I think I tried to rename them Blu-ray impressions at one point, and I didn't like the way that it rolled off the tongue and didn't quite stick for me. But in this video I'm going to talk to you about a Blu-ray I've watched that I really had a great time with. Another Eureka release, of course. As I've mentioned before, I'm already in the bag for this stuff. But this is like oh man, again. I just filmed a video talking about Message from Space, which I loved so much, and this is another release that I just had such a great time with. This is The Miracle Fighters, directed by Woo-Pong, 1982. Yes, great year for film. And I didn't really, to be honest with you, I was as I mentioned before, been going through some personal stuff recently, and so when this one was coming out and I received it in the mail, I wasn't really paying too much attention to what was coming out, and this kind of was like, oh cool, another Hong Kong kind of maybe ghost foo movie, but I didn't really pay too close attention to how this could potentially play out as a movie, and so I kind of popped it in, not knowing what to really expect, and I was just blown away for an hour and 40 minutes. And it's really strange. My love affair, like I keep calling it that because it's the best way to describe it. My love affair with Hong Kong cinema has really grown in spite of my own ignorance, I think, which makes me appreciate it even more. Because I came from a place of loving Jackie Chan and being like, wow, like the stuff that Jackie Chan does is incredible. And obviously there's no one else who does action films like that in Hong Kong cinema, so there's no point even, looking into that or kind of diving deeper. So I never did, watch a Chinese ghost story, was blown away by it and thought, well, this is an anomaly. Like there's no way that there's other films out there like this, even from Hong Kong. So why bother looking into it? And I've been proved so thoroughly wrong by so many of these releases that Eureka have done, that other companies have done. 88 Films, there's now some stuff from Radiance coming out. And, in any form, I'm just really captivated by Hong Kong cinema, but I really love this kind of supernatural, the kung fu, ghost fu, whatever you want to call it. This film feels very much in the ilk to me of like a Mr. Vampire film, the Guernsey genre of the hopping vampires. Even though there's no hopping vampires in this, but just the Taoism, right, is kind of a part of it, and kind of magic and mastery of just the supernatural arts, along with great fight sequences, incredible choreography. Yuen Woo-Ping, legend, directing this. And I believe that like this is, and I haven't gone into all the extras on this one yet, which I'm looking forward to doing, and I will be doing a fuller review at some point, but I don't know too much about, I believe like the Yuen Clang. I didn't mean to say clang, although there's a lot of clanging going on in this film with the swords. There's quite a few sword battles that are a lot of fun, along with just your kind of typical, as you can even see on this gorgeous cover by Darren Wheeling, lots of kind of just hand gestures and literal strings and wires, and even the ones that you're not supposed to see, but also ones that you are supposed to see. Lots of just gestures and flames, and and that's the thing, like cinema is a big magic trick, right? Georges Méliès had that figured out in like the 1890s, that cinema was a magic trick, and he leaned into that hard. And to see that tradition carried over into like the 1980s in Hong Kong is just so fun to me, because it's just so creative. And the plot here, I think it maybe bogs itself down a bit too much in the first half. It's about a guy who works for the government, essentially for the emperor, and it's found out that he has a wife who's from a different race, which is not allowed. And so they offer him a choice. He can either pay the consequences of that, or he can actually clear his name by just killing his wife, by his own hand. And he almost tries to do it, but he can't bring himself to. So they kill him in front of him anyway. And then he kidnaps the prince and flees the palace, but accidentally kills the young boy in the escape. And so he goes into exile, and then many years later, he's an old drunk and stuff, and he has a protege, this kid he found in just under a tree. And then he comes across people from his past who believe that this young boy is actually the prince when he's not. And this character is played by Yat-Chor, I think. Let me see if he is listed. Yeah, Yat-Chor, who I loved in Witness, the fourth in the Line of Duty movie. He was so good in that film, from the action to the acting, really. And so it was cool to see him in another film. And I think all the Ewans are kind of related in some way, whether it's like as a group, a collective, brothers, I don't know. And I think either their master or their mentor, potentially their father, which shows you how little I know about all that stuff because I haven't listened to the commentaries yet in full, is the guy who played Jackie Chan's master in Drunken Master, who's kind of a legendary Hong Kong figure himself. And they pay tribute to him, who I'm assuming he recently died when they made this film. Maybe not, but it seems like it. There's like a portrait of him that two characters kind of pray to, and then they animate the face. It's so, again, just so fucking creative, this stuff. But it really boils down to this young guy who's the protege of this kind of, cast aside guy who, killed the prince, but then they don't know that he killed the prince. Again, it's like a lot of different hopping, overlapping, not hopping vampires or overlapping vampires, but the threads get a little bit thick, I think, in the first half of the film. But then our kind of hero ends up being this young boy, the kind of protege, and he has a real reason for vengeance. And so there's a villainous character from the government who like kind of dresses like a bat. He's like an evil Batman almost, but like a sorcerer Batman. It's crazy. This film is fucking bonkers. And so Yat-Chor, he is going to get vengeance. And that the form of vengeance changes as the film goes on, but he eventually comes under the tutelage of these two Taoist. I don't think they're priests, because in the hopping vampire films, there's always a Taoist priest played by what's his name? I should remember his name. He's an absolute legend. The guy who does, oh my god, it's Mr. Vampire himself, essentially, kind of. What's his name? That's gonna bug me, man. I love the guy too. He's such a good actor. Man, Mr. Vampire, Mr. Vampire 2, not in Mr. Vampire 3. No, he is Mr. Vampire 3. He's not in Mr. Vampire 4. He's in Vampire versus Vampire and Magic Cop, right? And he's great. What is his name, man? Anyway, he's awesome. He always plays a Taoist priest. He's so known for that role. It's bugging the shit out of me. Anyway, so these two Taoists, I mean, sorcerer bat, yes. They are called Taoist priests. And my inclination is to say Taoist, but it's Taoist as far as I'm aware. So there are these two Taoist priests one's a woman, one's a man, and they're kind of referred to as old man and old woman in the film. Both played by men, brilliantly. Great comedic performances. There's one who's constantly stroking his beard out and just had this ridiculous laugh that's like so bad, but it's also good, And I gotta try and remember that guy's name before I finish this damn video. But once, we'll find out the actor, Shu Gan is Yat-Chor's name. When Shu Gan meets the two Taoist priests and they agree to train him, but they quarrel, like they hate each other, these two old Taoist priests. Like they just, they're absolutely at each other's like throats, and they live opposite each other, and they put like a kind of row of stones in between each other's houses and kind of front yards. Like, don't step over the boundary, don't cross the line, don't cross me. But you get the sense that they like really love each other, even though they hate each other, and I love the dynamic. And once the film settles into that with the Yat-Chor character Shu Gan, it's so fun, and the film feels like it has a lot of purpose from that point on. But honestly, from the opening frames, like it's just so, I'm trying to think of another word than creative, inventive, brilliant. In every way that the word brilliant means brilliant. Like it's clever, and it's noteworthy in that aspect. And the final kind of sequence is just nuts, because you have like so many things going on, and it's kind of like a video game where it's like different stages that our hero has to like push past, and it just gets mental. I mean, I can't even, like, my jaw was dropping, which isn't new to these films and this genre of films. And another thing I loved was Yuen Ping's, like, his affinity to a great slow motion shot, but a legitimate slow motion shot, not like slowing down a shot in post, but actually filming in camera slow motion. You get this beautiful, man, there's so much of that in the film. It's clearly kind of something he liked as a director. Yeah, and I think they're releasing 2 more films from this series. I think it's like a loose series where it's not Miracle Fighters 2. It's just another film in that vein, and I'm really excited to see I think it's like a double pack coming out in a couple of months. So now I'm really excited for that. And man, again, it's just, I love this stuff. I really do. So I'm looking. There's a couple of commentaries on this one, as you always tend to get, which I'm really excited about. There's a handful of interviews as well, and you get like the reversible sleeve and stuff. I won't kind of go into it too much. I really like this. I love the colors on this one. The colors are really cool. But yeah, this is Yoon Yat-Chor here, Shugan, Sorcerer Bat. There, the villain of the film. And I think that's the. I love these guys, even though the characters are a man and a woman as the two old Taoist priests there. Yeah, it's just a blast. It's such a fucking blast. Can't recommend it highly enough. I mean, it's just for anything just to be completely wowed by what you're seeing. There's a sequence where someone fights a a child spirit in an adult body stuck inside a jar. Just imagine a fight scene with someone with their arms and their legs coming out of a jar, and how many ways they can make that fun and interesting and creative and like a real fight. It's mental. I absolutely love it. Miracle Fighters, awesome. And just another further continuation of my, as I keep saying and will continue to say, giant, passionate, lustful love affair with Hong Kong cinema. Well, we'll take the lustful out of it, but it's definitely passionate. It really is, and I hate to feel like a broken record, but it's worth repeating the fact that so many of these films that are getting released, and it feels like now we're at a point where the only films that are coming out from boutique labels, mostly, I mean, look at Arrow Video, and they're just they're putting out the big bucks and stuff, but companies like Eureka, 88 Films, other company, Radiance is a big one, I think Indicator. You're now getting stuff that is the underdogs of cinema, of world cinema and cinema history, that have not historically had this kind of treatment before on physical media, on home video, but also just in general as movies. And there can be reappraisals, rediscoveries for people who have grown up watching these films on really bad copies, getting to see them in great quality now and having this whole kind of core memory unlocked, but in a whole new way with the high definition format. Or it's someone like me who's come into it completely blind for the first time, had never really heard of this film before watching it, and just being like, wow, like my life feels more complete now as a movie watcher, as a movie lover, having seen something like Miracle Fighters. So what more is there to say than that, other than, again, I will come back with hopefully an in-depth review down the line, because I really love this one and had such a blast, and would like to kind of share a little bit of the clips from the film and talk about the extras and stuff and give it a kind of a further in-depth review. And I'm enjoying getting back into that process now of doing that, so hopefully you'll join me then. But if not, this was the kind of the short version, the quick thoughts. And yeah, I like doing these. I think this is I can kind of just get to the meat of the matter and how I feel about it, rather than kind of doing all the housekeeping, which I like to do, but it feels like the viewership doesn't like that as much. So hopefully maybe this will be like a nice middle ground. But thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've seen The Miracle Fighters, or if there's any Hong Kong films you want to talk about or recommend or anything like that. I love talking all things Hong Kong cinema. So leave your thoughts, any comments down below. Thank you for watching again, and I'll see you next time.